Alrighty, welcome everyone to the August edition in the year of 2026 for the owasp-Dependency-Track community meeting. Let me find the correct window. Organizational stuff. First, as always, the community meetings are being recorded and they will be uploaded to YouTube with a few days delay, possibly. The slides will be published to the community repository on GitHub if you want to see them later. And you can, during the presentation, you can use the Zoom chat to ask questions, but there's also an open Q&A towards the end where you can unmute yourself and ask then. Agenda for today, just quickly from me, the recent releases we recently published, a very basic update on the version 5.1 release timeline, a quick update on the Helm chart version 2, and then we have a guest presentation from Vivek at Interlink, followed by guest presentation from Elena from Rodan Schwarz, and the Q&A as promised earlier. As you noted, we are lucky this time to have two guest presentations, and if you also want to present here, we would love to host you, and this doesn't have to be you sharing a product or sharing integration. This could also be you venting about stuff that does not work or stuff that you need input on, that you need feedback on. We are very happy to host whatever you propose here. We don't filter a lot. So past releases, first version 4.14.3 was released on July 20th, so roughly 2 weeks ago. It just contained performance improvements for VEX imports, more efficient OSV mirroring. The defect dojo integrations got some improvements as well. And of course, because the bug fix release, various minor bug fixes and dependency bumps. Quick reminder, I mentioned this last month. Version 4 will become end of life in December, so please do plan an upgrade to version 5 if you haven't already. Until then, of course, we will publish security fixes and bug fixes, of course. Then on the same day, version 5.0.3 was released, which improved most of all the classification of retriable vulnerability analysis errors. Why this is important, for example, the OS index analyzer could run into payment required statuses now that there's that OS index has become a paid service, and we misclassified this error as being retriable, which could lead to retries being executed that never would succeed. Also various query and task scheduling improvements mostly. And there was also a bug where the file storage abstraction that we use in version 5 did not work on Windows file systems. And that is mostly because we distribute the application as a containerized application. And that assumes a Unix file system. We, like the maintainers, mostly work on Unix systems as well. That's why this was not caught earlier. But now it's fixed. Now you can also run the Java application on a Windows system if you want. And much more. Also, version 5.0.4 was released just a few days ago on July 30th. Again, various task scheduling performance improvements, especially if you run into long or large backlogs of tasks. We also reworked the heartbeating mechanism for this, and this was important for long-running tasks that previously did not heartbeat or did not signal back to the application that they were still working, which then caused the application to spawn another worker to pick up the task again, which led to duplicate task executions. That is now fixed. We also enforce now a maximum execution timeout. So even if you have a long-running task and it somehow gets stuck for whatever reason, there's now a limit of, I think, up to 1 hour per default, after which we just kill the task and consider it failed. There was also a fix for, or an improvement in efficiency for importing large bombs, especially those with many, and I mean like many, hundreds of thousands of components, potentially components. The process was loading excessive data for this, and this has been fixed. Now it should be more efficient. Quickly to share from the telemetry data that we collect, the version distribution as of yesterday, you can see that the latest version, which again was only released a few days ago, version 5.0.4, already has almost 400 adopters. And in total, like last month, I reported all version 5 or all version 5 versions being deployed to just about over 800 systems, and now it's over 1,500 systems. So over 700 more, which I think is good progress. But of course, we still have a large chunk of version 4 deployments, mainly version 4.14.2, which isn't even the latest version of the version 4 branch. So again, please do upgrade if you haven't already, and please do plan an upgrade to version 5 if you have not already. Then release timeline for version 5.1. I mentioned last time we were aiming for late July. Obviously, now it is August. So we are aiming for the first half of August, roughly. So sometime around the 15th at the latest would be our hope we can release this. The headline features, just to remind you, CAF support will be landing, so known exploited vulnerabilities. We will source this from CISA per default, from ENISA, so the European counterpart to CISA. And if you want, also vuln check, which will also get an integration. And we will ship CycloneDX version 1.7 support, which I think was much requested by the community. I showed a few things that will ship in version 5.1 during the last community meeting. So if you're interested, just go back to that meeting. As I said before, the recording's on YouTube. So please do have a look. For the Helm chart, last time I mentioned it's still in the release candidate phase. We were looking for feedback and for testers. Feedback has been fine, I guess. People have been adopting the release candidates without like raising bug issues. So we just decided to let it go and release the stable version also a few days ago on July 30th. Just a reminder, this is only compatible with version 5 of Dependency-Track, not version 4. If you try to deploy the Helm chart with Dependency-Track version 4, it will fail before it executes on your Kubernetes cluster. The Dependency-Track version 4 compatible chart is still maintained until version 4 reaches end of life, and the chart major version is 1.x. Also, you cannot just bump the chart version from 1 to 2. That will not work. There is a manual upgrade mechanism that you should please follow. And you can find the links here. They are in the Helm chart repository as well. So if you look at the Helm chart repository, these guides will be there. And that's all from me blabbering. Let's just go ahead and look at the guest presentations. Vivek, are you okay with starting, or do you prefer Elena going first?
So, yeah, let Elena go first.
Is that all right, Elena?
Sure, thanks.
Perfect.
Okay. First of all, thanks for the introduction and thanks for hosting me. I've prepared some slides as well. Let's just try to share them. Okay. Most important question, can you see them and hear me?
Yes.
Perfect, okay. My name is Elena Ströbele. I'm a working student at Rode und Schwarz in Munich. And today I want to present a feature that I've been working on, which should hopefully improve the project search in Dependency-Track. First of all, the current state for project search is, let's say, limited. We have a search bar on the right side for which you can that you can use for a name and version search. You can also click on tags, classifier, and teams to filter, but those filters are not combinable, at least as far as I know. And I think especially when you have larger portfolios with a lot of projects, this is not improving discoverability of a specific project. So that's why I've worked on a new API endpoint for the V2 API with the support for project filtering. This is also in line with community requests from the past. So there were different issues requesting more fine-grained project search and filtering. So yeah. I've also linked the PRs to the implementation here. I still have to improve some stuff, but here are the links already. Okay. Let's have a look at the specification of the feature. Basically, we have now 3 classes of filters available. The first class are text and exact match filters, the most intuitive ones, I would say. You have a text contains mechanism for name and version, so substring matching, and an exact match for tags and themes. For tags and themes, it is new that we can now filter for multiple tags and themes. For tags, the results must match all the selected tags, and for themes, the results must match at least one of your selected themes. The second class are classification and risk filters. You can filter as before for classifier. New thing is only that you can again choose multiple values here. The results have to match at least one of them. One new thing here is severity matching. You can search for projects with a vulnerability with a specific severity. So you can, for example, choose critical or medium, and then the results would be all projects with at least one critical or medium vulnerability. And the final class are hierarchy and status filters. The first one being an ancestor filter, so you can choose from a list of ancestor projects, and the results would be all descendants excluding the ancestor. And finally, we have some status filters, which are not, most of them are not novel. We have active filter, non-active, latest, non-latest, and one more new thing is that you can also filter for last bomb import. Okay, we've talked about the stuff on paper now, so let's just have a look at the feature in action. You can see that the UI, so the filter bar, is in line with the UI for the new component filtering mechanism, which I think was introduced in DT5 as well. You have the create project button on the left side. This is not visible for users that do not have rights to create projects. The active project state is as before the default state. You can right now see the tag filter. You can add tags. You can delete them individually, but you can also delete the whole tag filter. As before, you can switch between tree and flat project view. So if you have the default mode on with only active projects, then you would see the tree view of the projects. As soon as you apply more and more filters, you only have the flat project view available anymore. And as soon as you have more than 2 filters, you have this clear all filters button on the right side, which clears all filters, including the only active one. For classifiers, you can choose from a list here. Yeah, you can delete it. Switch between flat and project view, tree view, sorry. For severity, you again have a list that you can select from. And yeah, I think now, yeah, we see the team filter, which works the same way as the tag filter, with the distinction that the results must match only one of the teams at least. We can delete them individually, as I said. Yeah. And now we can still see the parent filter. So now we only have one ancestor available here, which is demo 1. So we end up with all children of demo 1. Okay. Please note that this was admin mode, so we saw all the projects. However, the feature is ACL aware, so if a user can only see its own projects, then the filters are aware of that. Okay, that's about it. It was a short presentation from me, but I'm happy if you have any feedback or questions. Yeah, and thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. That looks really cool.
Thank you.
And I do agree, like the previous way of filtering, like filtering down projects was very annoying. So glad this will be improved. Really cool
Thank
stuff.
you.
Does anyone have specific questions or feedback? James is saying, this looks great. Nice job, Elena.
Thank you.
I think no questions. So just thank you so much for presenting and obviously for contributing the feature, and hope to merge it soon.
Thank you.
Alrighty, and I think now we're moving on to Vivek. Are you good with?
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, let me try. I have logged in with browser. So let me
Mhm.
try once again. So is it visible now?
Yes. Now it's visible.
Yeah. So yeah, basically it wasn't working on my Zoom desktop because I think my screen type is VLAN instead of X11. So that's why that's what's causing a problem. Let me get back to slide. So visual now.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, so hi everyone. I'm Vivek. Currently, I'm working as a software engineer as well as open source community lead at Interlink. I have been involved in this field from last 2 years, especially in software supply chain security and majorly on software based of materials toolings. So yeah, I have been involved in building this as bomb toolings via Interlink, and apart from that, I was active in c-scf foundation and contributing to Kyverno project and all. So yeah, that's pretty much about my work. So yeah, let's get started with today's talk. So helping dependency track to do its best work. So basically, we are going to see how can we use SBOM ASM and SBOM QS open source tool to see how how they can help uh, with the SBOM so that the analysis can be much better. So DD analysis is only as complete as the SBOM you give it. So yeah, that's completely true. Like the dependency track platform is built by open source community and with a motive of component analysis, and that directly depend on the information or data that you feed via Cyclone DX SBOM. Therefore, SBOM is the foundation layer for a dependency track. So basically, dependency track extract all the major and important information from this box, and it does a further analysis of that. One of the important use case of it is that fetching the existing vulnerabilities from external sources by using component information such as Perl, CP, etc. And similarly, it also does license analysis. For that, it uses license information. And for all other kind of analysis, it will use different field. So I mean, if the SBOM quality is not good, I mean the further analysis cannot be good. I mean one cannot make best use of dependency track. So for that one, obviously the question arises is that how would anyone know that my SBOM is complete enough for dependency track based result or not? And one of the another question that comes into mind is that if someone is dealing with a microservice architecture where each service has a separate SBOMs, now at the time of analysis it won't they want to feed a single unified SBOM, then how can you merge multiple SBOM into one? Or even that if in your dependency track there are multiple project ID and it refers to a single SBOM, how can you merge multiple project ID into a single project ID? So yeah, that so grade it and build it. That what exactly SBOM QS does is it simply gives you the score from 0 to 1 on the basis of the quality of the SBOM. It also helps you with the compliance check whether it is pass or fail. And one of the important thing that it does is that it simply writes the score back to the dependency track project ID. So there you can simply see your SBOM and the score of that SBOM. Whereas SBOM ASM simply build it. It basically it has a multiple functionalities like uh, one of the major functionality is to merge multiple SBOM into a single unified SBOM, which is called as assembling SBOMs. Another functionality is to enrich the SBOM and editing the metadata and all, and signing and pushing back to the dependency. And both support dependency track API. So yeah. Now coming to the SBOM case. So this is an open source CLI built in Golang, and it is specifically used for the quality check, SBOM quality checks and compliance check. So basically under the hood, it performs various numbers of checks, and on the basis of that, it gives you the score. Now different compliances have different number of field, and each field different number of requirement of field, and each field represent a specific check, and different compliances have different sets of their own checks, and that SBOM queue simply performs that and gives you the result. This SBOM quest tool has been it is used by SBOM.sh, SBOM benchmark.dev, harness SSCA, and SBOM amplify. It has also been used for MSR research paper research. So yeah, now coming to the score, if once you get a SBOM, you simply run a score command and you got the score. Now a score could be, I mean, whatever 0 to 10. Now there comes debugging part, like now why your score is less. Now you want to simply check what field exactly your components are missing. So from score you can simply get that what field is missing, and using a list command as bombqs list command you can get what all are the component that misses that missing that particular field or particular feature. We will see this later on the demo part. Now, one command real regulatory and standard. Also, obviously, quality is not equal to compliance. So, in terms of like by default, the quality gives you simply the score. It performs checks and it gives you. Whereas compliance command, it gives you detailed analysis of each component with their data and the whole analysis part. Like NTA has different set of checks, BSI has different set of checks, FSCT has different, and Open Chain Telco also has different set of checks. And for that, you need a detailed analysis of your SBOM and what is present, what is missing, and that's all. Now, this is exactly the track score command is exactly for dependency track project. It simply score your SBOM can simply score your project and write that score to your project ID. So under the hood, it connects to dependency track API, and simply you can simply run this command. I will show this in the demo part. So yeah, and by this you can simply see the score rightly in front of your project. Now coming to the SBOM ASM tool, the SBOM management toolkit. So it has various functionalities I have already told, like assembling multiple SBOMs, enriching. Currently we only support license enrichment, which is from external data source that is clearly defined. Editing, this is important, like you can edit, edit here support, you can adding additional information, adding, replacing existing information, or adding if something is missing. I mean, in the primary component, or even in the components list of components, or even your SBOM metadata. Whereas remove command is useful for removing the specific field, specific component, or even on the basis of field and values, you can remove component, specific component, or even all components and their dependencies. Whereas view command is simply to you can see human readable, rendering of a response. And lastly, sign and verify. And it has been also been used by open chain telco as bombs guide view 1.1 and yeah, implementers. Now coming to assembly, like what are the merging strategy that SBOM ASM support? There are multiple strategy on the basis of which SBOM ASM assemble multiple SBOMs. One is flat. In the flat, you basically all the input SBOMs are placed in the components section, all their primary component as well as their all components. Whereas in the assembly merge strategy, the input SBOM primary component are placed under the newly primary components under subcomponents, and all their components are present in the in the component section. Whereas augment is bit different, it performs, this is not a merge, but you can perform, a top layer, like you can enrich your primary SBOM with additional data, like you can add a vulnerability VEX document, you can also add whatever data you can add. Now, so yeah, you get the score, you find the gaps, and now it's time to add fix those metadata, fix those field to make your good quality SBOM. For that you use enrich, for that you use enrich to enrich the license, for edit you use uh, to edit fields, and similarly remove. Now here comes assemble DT command. This is exactly what SBOM ASM connects to a dependency track platform. So this is specifically for assembling your multiple SBOM into one. We will look into the demo part also. Now this is the complete pipeline for the DT committee that can adopt today. That way you can build a SBOM. That is the first initial phase of your SBOM. That is a raw SBOM. Obviously, it has something missing because there are some data that only a manufacturer or supplier or can have. That tool, that's what tool has a limitation. Then you can, if you have multiple SBOM, you can simply assemble into a one unified SBOM. Then you can enrich your license, you can edit your field, you can edit your author, you can add author, add license, correct if there is something missing. And then you can simply check the score, and you can then once you have a good score SBOM, you can simply feed that to dependency track to let dependency track do its own job of further analysis. And then you can simply once your SBOM is in the dependency track, you can use dtrack score command for using SBOM QS to add the score into your project ID. So yeah, let me show you the demo part quickly. So my terminal is visible now, right?
Yes.
Okay. Uh, Let me quickly show you one SBOM. So this is the SBOM that we will use. So whatever the content here is, all the original, they are valid. So the first component is SBOM QS itself. It's a primary component, and it has a two dependencies. I have just removed all other. So one dependency is Cyclone DX Go. Another dependency is dependency track client.go, and it has today. Now let's quickly. Now let me. So you can simply check the score. So here I am running SBOM is QS score command to check the score for a profile NTIA. Now if you see you got the swarm quality score 8.6, grade is B, total component are 3. So yeah, and what is missing here? The component supplier is missing and remaining stuffs are present. So let's quickly see what all are the components that are missing out this supplier. uh, so sbom qs list command gives you shows you, I mean, what components are missing. So here if you see, I have added missing, I mean, list of all the components that are missing supplier. So these all are the three components that are missing component supplier. So uh, one is primary component and another two are its dependencies. Now let's quickly add a supplier for the component cyclone dx go. I'm adding supplier for the cyclone dx go, and here is the supplier of OWASP, and lastly is the that demo, and we are writing to a new file, say edit one. We are doing first edit, so we are writing simply editing one. And here if you see, we have selected a subject component name version. Like there are lots of components, so you are searching a specific component and then you are applying then you are adding the supplier. So yeah, let me quickly show you the new SBOM, that is edit SBOM, and check again how many components are missing, how many components that do not have supplier. So now see, if you see, only two are remaining. Let me quickly add for second one to the same thing. Again, the subject will be remain component name version for this dependency track client and adding supplier. And now for we are editing for the second time, so I'm writing to the edit to file again. Let's quickly check the same thing, and if you see, the remaining is one, that is primary component is only missing supplier. So now let's quickly add it to so here one thing has been changed, like so the subject is now primary component, and for the remaining two there was only component name version. And for if you want to add a edit for a document, then here subject will be document for a metadata. Now here we have added a supplier, and we are writing to edit 3. Now let's quickly check the final score of the final SBOM edit 3. If you see now, the component supplier, it has a 10 out of 10 score, and we have scored 10 by 10 for all of them. Now if you now check, uh, mm, so here I have removed the missing flag. So now here you can see that, or let me show you the value too. What are the values? So you can see the values also, that now all the component have the supplier, and if you try to see any of them are missing, you will see no component found, none of the component has a missing supplier. So let me quickly create a separate directory, and let me move this final SBOM uh, uh, with a new file name. I have renamed the file name to a final SBOM, and let me quickly show you the dependency track platform. If you see, I mean, currently. Uh, Currently, if you see, there are only two projects, Light 1 and Light 2. And let me quickly upload. You can simply upload it from dependency track 2, but we have SBOM MB tool, which upload SBOM from local folders to dependency track. So it has uploaded. Let me quickly refresh it. So yeah, this is the SBOM that I have uploaded right now. If you see, there are, I mean, two components, I mean, Cyclone DXGo and the client.go. So this, I mean, now you have a project. Now the main part comes here is like you have now project ID. Now you have project, your SBOM. Now you want to see what is the score. So right in front here. So quickly I can run this command sbom qsd-track score command, and I have provided API key and all the. This is the project ID. Let me quickly replace with new project ID. Uh, and here I am writing a score for an NTIA profile. So it will tag a project with a grade as well as tag a project with a score. So if you see here, score is 10 and grade is a. So let me quickly refresh this. So if you look here, you can see the score, NTIA and NTIA grade. So similarly, you can add for all other profile. Like currently, if you look, we support all profile like here NTIA, NTIA 2025, FSCT, BSI, BSI V1, all the version, OCT, and yeah. So this was the first use case by SBOM QS for dependency track. Another use case was that if you have a, see if you have a multiple projects in the dependency track, and each project represent a single SBOM. Like here, light one SBOM and light two SBOM. Now what I want is like I want to merge both SBOM into a final SBOM, and so for that let me create a new project. Let's say interlink version 1.0, and let me create. So this is the project that we have created in new one. So now what we will do is we will simply merge this two project into a final project, and that will be uploaded to an interlink one. So let me quickly run this command. So yeah, if you see sbom assemble dt, this is the command. So assembling here means we are assembling two projects. One is project ID1, which refers to a light one, and project ID2 that refers to a light two project, light two SBOM, and we are merging uh, into final SBOM with a primary component name interlink version this, and type of the SBOM is application. So for this, let me, before proceeding further, let me change the value of new project ID, as I have created a fresh project. So yeah, let me now run this final command. If you refresh now, there is a no SBOM present in it. Simply let me run this command. So yeah, it has merged both SBOM into a hierarchical merging strategy. Hierarchical means the input SBOM, that is input SBOM was light 2 and light 1. So if you see the light one has two components. Here if you see two components, one is as a core and OCI, and the primary component is let me show the dependency graph. So here, so yeah, if you see OCI, and it has a two component. Now if you coming to back to the interlink project, if you refresh, you will get a final project. You have all this project, and if you go to dependency track, you can simply see yeah, these are the primary components of light 1 project and light 2 project. And in a hierarchical way, if you know, they are the primary component of input as bombs are placed under the component section of a final SBOM, and all their remaining components or respective components are placed under the component section of their respective primary components. So yeah, so this is the one of the merging strategy, that is hierarchical. And if you want a flat, you can simply here add a flat merge or any, like this. You will simply, like, let me show you. So we support all three different kind of assembly merge. Assembly merge, in this assembly merge, all the primary components get into the under the components of a newly primary component. Then here comes a flat, and lastly comes a hierarchical, which is a by default one, hierarchical merge. So I think that was all from my side. Just before, let me quickly show you the, score. Let me show you the uh, compliance command. So this is the final SBOM that we uploaded to dependency track. Let me quickly show you the compliance command, how compliance command look like for anti-IP. So if you see, this is the compliance command. Here it shows detailed analysis of your SBOM. It shows all the SBOM metadata field, all the metadata field, and then component level, each components and their each field that NTIA requires and their value and the score. So that's yeah, that's how you can say, you can analyze your SBOM, what is present, what is missing, and what is like. So coming back to the slide. Mm, okay, yeah. So this was what we have discussed so far, that we simply score the SBOM. Uh, After that, using a list command for a specific feature, you can see what is missing and what all are the component that is missing out. Then using a SBOM ASM edit command, you can simply add those values or for the specific component, for the primary component as well as document. And lastly, you can use a SBOM QS track track score command to upload the score, and similarly for SBOM ASM if you want to merge multiple points. So that was all from my side. The demo for SBOM QS and SBOM ASM. If you would like to get started with it, you can simply check it out in the given link. And if you feel any issue or any something like you wanted to add, just feel free to add a issue or something discussion, we can, yeah. So yeah, that's all about the session talk. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Really cool. Thank you so much, Vivek, for the presentation. Looks
Yeah.
really cool. I have a few questions, but I don't want to rob everyone else of their time. So maybe someone else has questions first or feedback. Feel free to shoot. Okay, while we maybe wait, is it possible for SBOM QS to use custom profiles? Let's say I know dependency track needs specific fields. Would I be able to create custom profiles to check for those fields only instead of relying on NTIA or BSI?
Yeah, sure. You can add your own. You can provide your own check. I think there is a two-way to do it. One is to via configuration file. We support all the major field checks. So obviously you will provide the field that is present in the CycloneDX or SPDX. So what you can do, one you can do via configuration. There is a command in SBOM QS, generate configuration file, and you can add all your field check, whatever check you want to look for. Another way to look into it, that we have a policy command. By policy command, you can add all the field into it. If you also want to put a value, you can also put a value into a specific value or any expression or something like that. I mean, the both way can work. Like I have shown for NTIA, you can simply put all the NTIA field into the policy one. It will show all the analysis.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.
Because no other question has been raised, I hope that's fine. How do you? Now there's a question. Thank you for the presentation. I've catched it a little bit late, so I'll make sure to watch the recording later. I've got some questions, but mainly for Dependency-Track. Okay. Let me just ask one for Vivek first, and then we can, I guess, jump back to Dependency-Track. I was curious how you do the correlation with the licenses from clearly defined. Do you need like pearls in the SBOM first before that is possible to do, or do you use name and version, or how does that correlation work?
No, for that we use a Perl basically. I mean, clearly defined supports a Perl.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Alrighty.
Perl is the yeah.
Do
And
we have
yeah,
any more?
and if you
Sorry.
have, I mean, you are interested in that failed one, no, right? For a data, let me know if something you have, I can create that. I can help you out with that one by creating a configuration or something like a policy.
Sounds great.
Mm.
Awesome. Yeah, then thank you again, Vivek, for the presentation. Really cool. Um, I guess Dorian, you said you have questions for dependency track. Do you want to ask them now? Do you want to unmute yourself or just post in the chat? Oh boy. Okay. Three questions. Is there an ETA for the 5.1 release? Yes, I mentioned this earlier. It will be in the first half of August. We originally planned for end of July, but that obviously did not happen. So expected by the middle of August, first half. For CRA, we must be alerted when a new CVE effects deployed releases. We can configure alerts for when a new CVE appears, but if an already identified CVE is updated, new CVSS score or something similar, or becomes CAF, I don't think we have a way to properly be alerted. Open issue. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a known gap. The problem is the implementation and making sure it works at scale, for lack of better words. And the problem arises mostly for large portfolios. If you imagine a single vulnerability affecting maybe hundreds, maybe thousands, maybe tens of thousands of projects, if every time the severity changes or the CVSS score changes or the CAF status changes, you submit a notification for every single finding in every single project, um, you're bottlenecked quite quickly based on how much data you need to pull out of the database and how quickly you can send notifications, right? So I think we need to put some work in to determine what exactly it is you need to be alerted on, or um, if it can be resolved by, let's say, daily digests, as in these vulnerabilities have changed since yesterday, or these have transitioned from severity medium to severity high since yesterday. Something along those lines that doesn't put extreme strain on either the database or the system as a whole. But yeah, it's kind of a known gap. If you have any ideas, or if anyone else in the call or who's watching this has any ideas how to make it work across many thousands, many hundreds of thousands of projects, that would be much appreciated for sure. Third question, again for CRA, is it planned to have EUVD as a vulnerability source? I've seen a few open issues, but no recent updates so far on this. Okay, so I have a controversial take on this. The EUVD is pretty much useless for what we need. And the main reason is that the EUVD only aggregates the NVD, pulls in a bit of information from GitHub, I think, as well. But the bottom line really is it doesn't have any new data that is valuable if you can just go directly to the source of the NVD and similar. And the other problem is that it's mostly about metadata. What I mean with this is the EUVD will have descriptions, it will have maybe severities, it maybe has severity ratings, but it doesn't have the most important part that we need, and that is matching information in a machine readable format. The last time I checked, and that is just a few weeks ago, I think, it will list affected projects in basically a human readable format. So it will say Jackson data bind version something or Microsoft Windows something. It does not use CPEs, it does not use Perl, which makes it entirely unfit for automated matching. So as a EU citizen, believe me, I would love an alternative to the NVD or to other mostly American sources. But as it is right now, the EUVD is just not a replacement, and it's not even good for enrichment. That's my personal take on this. Yeah, okay, makes sense. Thanks a lot for the answers. Yep, happy to help. If anyone else is interested on ranting against the EUVD or maybe provide some counterpoints, happy to have other opinions. Binod, you're raising your hand.
Yeah, thanks. I have some opinion on the second and third. Like second one, I think your concern is the number of notification is being generated and sent out, if I understood correctly, right? So
Yep.
we should focus on guardrails or prioritization of the notification, even with the CRA. If I understood correctly, they don't have to notify for every product, every project. It may be the things they deal with the EU government or whatever the things they have so-called externally available or as a product or something, right? Like so maybe I think we should also think about the notification on the project level so that we don't need to send this in-depth notification on all project, but just specific critical project or some label or tag or project explicit project selection and things like that. So maybe we could consider some kind of guardrail to find the right balance. Also, like you mentioned, it can be a daily digest or something like a summarized thing as well, right? Like with regards to CRA again on the EUVD, right? Like I don't know if Dorian has already tried OSV or some other similar sources that DT already support. Any gaps or challenges, right? Like with the I think OSV also aggregate multiple sources and it has more machine readable and focus on package URLs. So just curious why EUVD over OSV or any other sources that did already support, right? Like there's a more a question back to Dorian. Yeah.
Dorian responded, I didn't directly use OSV, but I've heard duplication issues when enabling multiple sources though, but it may be an old release of D-Track. No, so the duplication thing is still an issue, I would say, but issue is kind of in quotes. So if you have the NVD enabled or some other analyzer that reports CVEs, and then you have GitHub enabled or OSV and both report GHSA vulnerabilities, Dependency-Track shows you that they are both aliases if the information is given to us, but we don't deduplicate based on aliases. So if the GHSA vulnerability and the CVE technically refer to the same vulnerability, we still show two. Like we still show them both. I'm happy to give more details as to why, and the primary reason is that it's very hard to reconcile. Like knowing two things are roughly the same is one thing, but because every single vulnerability in Dependency-Track can have attached state, for example, the analysis, is it exploitable, is it not, comments, the audit trail, maybe the severity rankings are different between CVE and the GHSA. And of course, one of the main issues with OSV that we had is that the alias data was sometimes wrong. So what you could have is an alias was reported at some point, and then later OSV determined, oh, this alias relationship was invalid, we need to revert it, right? So not only do you need to converge, you also need to split again eventually. And that's just a long way of saying it's very hard to solve this problem, to deduplicate findings based on IDs. It's not impossible, I think, but it's very hard, and I didn't see any product, be it commercial or open source, do it correctly or even attempt to do it, if I'm being honest.
But just want to check, Nicholas, right? OSV has improved the alias data. I mean, we did inform them about the data quality issue, I think, few years back, and I think they have improved it. But just want to add to the point, it is not just a problem with OSV, it is a problem with any additional source, including EUVD, right? If you have multiple sources configured, there will be multiple vulnerabilities if they are matching it, right? Like, so yeah, it's not just a problem for OSV. I just want to add. But I have a question for you, Nicholas, regarding the alias thing. I think we were looking into some possibility to have some cell policy support with Alias and having some way to, I don't know, suppress or close duplicate finding some logic. I don't know where we were, where we went with that, thought process. Like if OSV, GitHub, or Snake, three places are reporting it, maybe action in the cell policy, something else, right? Like, is that possible now, or is still not possible? Like,
Something related is possible, but possibly not what you were going for. So just to reiterate, what you want is you want to see multiple sources have reported the same vulnerability, and all of them have actually been raised, right? You don't just want to know there is a CVE for this finding. You want to know, has there actually been a finding for the CVE and the GHSA, and then suppress one of them, right?
and they have alias connection, right? Like, so
Yeah.
if for a component for a version, GHSA is reporting a GHSA ID, SNCC is reporting SNCC ID, OSS index is, but all of them has some alias connectivity, right? Like, so we can correlate or connect something about those findings, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Got it. So you cannot do it at the moment. At the moment, the only thing you get is in the vulnerability policies, you can check if a vulnerability has an alias, but you don't know if there has been a finding raised for that alias, if that makes sense. So suppressing based on that is likely not what you should do.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
What you can do is if you figure out that in your portfolio you see lots of duplicates and the CVE and the GHSA vulnerability are always raised, and you just want to get rid of the noise for some of those cases you know of, then you can create a policy and say always suppress the GHSA if it gets raised. But I acknowledge that's very blunt. Yeah, but that's the reality.
Yeah.
Valerio was posting in the chat, it's legit to show them both, so OSV and GHSA. Often they have different severities or scores, and GHSA doesn't have CVSS 4.0 as far as I know. Yeah, like good point. Scorings, ratings will differ, and you just cannot know what is the correct rating, right? So someone has to make a call, and it's possibly the best idea to just defer to the user who can make a good judgment call instead of trying to automate it in some way that's not going to be reliable. Except maybe you want to throw some agent at it if you're feeling fancy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If you have API access, you can export all these alias and give it to your agent. Let it guess the correct score, correct source, suppress everything else, right? Like, so yeah.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah, nothing.
Alrighty, any more questions? We're already over time for the first time ever, I think. I guess not. So 3, 2, 1, sold. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Elena and Vivek for the presentations again. Much appreciated. And again, if anyone else wants to present here, we will be happy to have you. Just reach out to us. You know how to find us. And see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.